3, please.
My name is Cassidy. I'll be your first mate and tour guide today. We're here with Captain John. Can we say hi, Captain John?
Hi, John.
All right. Welcome to Toronto. Welcome to Lake Ontario. I just got to do a quick safety briefing. We have life jackets on the lower floor to the sides here, 4 light rings, 2 midship, 2 up front. We have fire extinguishers midship and up front, and we have a life raft on top of the boat, but we won't need more slaughterhouses, warehouses, factories. Toronto actually used to be called the Big Smoke before it was called the Six. An example of this is to the right. That's Queen's Beach Tunnel with the bluish green windows. If you need to use a bathroom after the tour, I recommend going there. That building was built in 1926. It used to function as a dry fruit storage facility. In 1962, they took a wrecking ball to that corner, but the wrecking ball just bounced right back, so they made do with what they could, and that's why that corner looks pretty weird. Down the street is a Popeye's chicken. To the right, we have this red brick building with this chimney. Can anyone guess what it functions as? Power plant, 5 points up here. No trick questions on the harbor tour, although that was a trick question. I just like for participation. You guys can heckle me if you want on this tour. It was a power plant program facility. Now, if you go there, you'll find a contemporary art gallery. You can cheers for contemporary art, but best of all, it's free admission. Nice! Alright, to the right we also have Harbourfront Centre, the white and grey building. That used to be a truck shop. Now if you're toilet brush merger phase. So yeah, it's something everyone could do, fun for the family. We also have the Harbourfront Centre Amphitheatre. This hosts all kinds of local gigs and local music from world to electronica. They have free movie nights on Wednesdays. They also have open mic opera sometimes. How do I know that? I know because our captain sometimes goes to the open mic opera. In fact, if you get 100 points on the tour, he'll sing you a little opera if you would like to request that. Yeah. He's a little shy, but you gotta start warming up your voice, John. If you see something happening there, I recommend checking it out because most of those events are free admission. We see this white bridge to the right. That's the Amsterdam Canal Bridge, but do we have any romantic comedy fans on board? Okay, has anyone seen a movie called My Big Fat Greek Wedding? Nice. Well, that's the bridge where Ian and Tula in the movie had their very first kiss. Aww. His girlfriend is training there, so he probably won't get in too much trouble, maybe, unless she's still mad at him. Toronto Marine Police has 10 specialized divers. They have search and rescue operations. They could get anywhere. They could also get anywhere within the islands in less than 3 minutes. And you can kind of see them going back into the police unit. To the right. We have the CN Tower. I'll talk more about that when the audience on the left side of the boat has a much better view. For now, I'm just going to point out we can see people on the edgewalk. They're tiny little dots on the top of the CN Tower. For now, I'm going to focus on a shorter, stubbier brother or sister, the Rogers Center. Do we have anyone on board that knows what the Rogers Center used to be called? Skydome, 5 points back there. Perfect. Yeah, it used to be called the Skydome. Definitely not the Central Canadian Tower, Don't Move Arena Alliance. It used to be called the Skydome. That's because it's the first fully functioning opening and closing automated arena with that gap of water. It's something super cool. It's an underwater tunnel. It's one of the ways you can get to the airport. Another way is one of the shortest ferry rides ever. I think the underwater tunnel is much cooler, but I guess that's because I'm on a boat every day. To the right, we have this island with the airport on it. Can anyone guess what the name of this island is? Airport Island, 5 points up here. It's called Airport Island. More specifically on this airport island is Billy Bishop Airport. It's named Billy Bishop Airport after the fighter pilot in World War I. At the time, to be a fighter pilot, the life expectancy was only 2 weeks. So Billy Bishop shot down more than 70 fighter jets and died later at a old age in his bed at home. So he was a very honorable Canadian man. This is a shorter runway. Most of these airplanes are Q400-8, 9s. It's really fun to hover again. Otherwise, as Captain John likes to say, the airplane will go for a swim. In the 1940s, we had 2 Norwegian fighter pilot trainees making their land on a very foggy night. They saw the lights of what appeared to be the runway, so they made their land, but unfortunately, that was not the runway, that was the operating ferry at the time. These 2 pilots perished instantly, but luckily for the ferry, all of these passengers survived. They were all on the lower deck, and that ferry is still operating today. If we see it on our tour, I'll point it out to you. But now to prevent that from happening, we have these big, scary-looking buoys. If we go past those buoys, it's a $5,000 fine and 5-year license suspended. Don't believe me? Please Google these pictures, or just Google them anyway. It's very interesting to see what all of this used to look like. But the reason why it's not there anymore is the Great Depression took a big toll on everything, as it did on all businesses. Then later in 1954, there was Hurricane Hazel. This was a hurricane so strong, we don't get hurricanes here, but it caused a massive storm here, and it completely flooded all of the islands. The peninsula, so this broke the peninsula apart into the islands, and later in the 60s, they were deciding what to do, and they decided to turn it into the beautiful park space we have today. I think I could still use a roller coaster, but, oh, that's a pretty cool boat. Anyways, today, if you look to your right, Hanlan's Point is home. Its biggest attraction is a way you could see the moon from any position the moon is in, from any position the Earth is in. This is because Hanlan's Point is home to one of Canada's only nude beaches. I see a lot of people looking that way, but don't get too excited. Keep your clothes on. It's on the other side of the island. I know where all of you guys are gonna go after the tour. To the left, though. To the right, we have some swans. All right, say Cassidy, identify those swans. Okay, thank you. I heard 2 people say that. Those are mute swans. You can tell they're mute swans by the color of their bill. It's very cute. So mute swans are a monogamous species. This means when they have a partner, they commit to their partner for their whole life, so that's why you usually see them in pairs. It's very cute. Unlike Toronto men, they don't commit. To the left is Mugg's Island. You can only access this island if you're part of the yacht club or if you're park authority. This yacht club has a really cool tradition of naming the boats after the owner's occupation. So we'll play a game. I'll say the name of a boat. You guess the occupation of the owner that owns it. There's a boat called Turbulence. If you guess pilot, awesome. If you guess pilot, give yourself 5 points. Even if you're in the back, if you're loud enough, I could still hear you. There's a boat called Chicken Soup 6. Chicken Soup 6 is owned by a vice president. Can you guess the company? Campbell's Soup. Wow, very smart crowd. If you guessed Campbell's Soup, give yourself 5 points. There's a boat called the Stress Free. The Stress Free is owned by an attorney. Can you guess the type of law this attorney works with? Family law, good guess. Okay, divorce. Stress Free is owned by a divorce attorney. We have some doctors. There's a boat called Tunnel Vision. This is owned by a urologist, proctologist. All right, in just about 1 minute or 30 seconds, Captain John is going to turn left and he'll set you up with a really nice view of the skyline turned by the 2 islands. Oh, it looks like the police are following us. Don't worry, they're just coming to the islands. So let you guys have some time with that and enjoy the view. Will go out of the water on this boat lift, get wrapped up in a plastic wrap, and when the ice melts, they'll put it back in the water. Oh my gosh, the Marine Travel Lift. Take your pictures. They have a boat on it right now. Don't freak out. This is really cool. Marine Travel Lift, boat lift, lifting the boat. That's a water taxi. But if you're lame and your boat's too big, like this big black one to the right, actually that might not be too big, they'll install a bubbler system on the bottom. This displaces water so ice doesn't form. I'm very disappointed. I only saw like one person take pictures of the boat lift. I think it's so cool. Maybe my favorite is very subjective. To the left, I'm looking for my friend. I'm looking for some peacocks. So a couple years ago, there was a flooding in the petting zoo and a peacock escaped and found his way here. He joined the yacht club. Since he liked it better here, they let him live here and they brought over his mate. So since then he had kids and there's a family of free roaming peacocks on this island to our left. This is still Mugg's Island. The last time I saw him, he was by the stress-free boat. So I don't think his marriage was going so well. Something some of our captains like to do on their free time, like Captain John, you might see him on this island with a basket in his arms, skipping through, gathering mushrooms, because you can find mushrooms growing here in the spring 2 weeks out of the year. Don't worry, it's not silly mushrooms. These ones are just very nice to eat, and they're a beautiful skyline that will be to the left of the boat, because he will make a right turn. Have you been to the CN Tower yet? Anyone been to CN Tower? Okay. So CN Tower is 553 meters tall. That's around 1,800 Freedom units. Has anyone been too scared to walk on the glass, or will be if they go to the CN Tower? Too scared for the glass floor? Okay. Well, if you don't walk on the glass floor, you'll go on the carpet beside the glass. But under that carpet is just more glass. So don't worry, you got this. It's the same type of stuff that the space shuttle is made out of. On the CN Tower, you could do the edge walk. That's where they strap you into a harness and you walk along the rails of the ramp of the CN Tower. I really want to do that, but what scares me the most is the $200 ticket. Another thing you could do is the 360 restaurant. This restaurant does a rotation time to be the same time it takes to eat a 3-course meal, which is around 70 minutes. CN Tower also has the world's highest wine cellar. Even though it's the world's highest, it has underground settings. CN Tower used to be the tallest tower in the world. Now it's just the tallest in the Western Hemisphere, but you can keep our records as long as you get more specific. And the quickest person to ever get to the top of the CN Tower did it in 7 minutes and 53 seconds. Yeah, this guy was over 6'5". He was a volunteer firefighter, and I heard he had multiple stairs in between each step. Alright, with that said, you guys will be turned right in just a minute, and then I'll give you a nice break for my voice, time to enjoy the skyline, and let me know if you want me to take a picture of your family. This is Red Path Sugar Refinery, this big red factory. This is Canada's largest sugar supplier. They provide around 60% of Canada's sugar. It's also Hershey, Pennsylvania factory's #1 sugar supplier. This factory here takes advantages of trade sanctions between Cuba and USA. You might be wondering, how does it do that? Well, Cuba and USA are two countries that are very close to each other, but they don't really like each other so much. So Cuba will come deliver its sugar cane on big cargo ships to this factory. They will process it, package it up, label it as Canadian sugar, then sell it to our neighbors, USA. You might be wondering, why is this factory still here when most of the factories are gone? Well, that's because this one doesn't really produce that much pollution, but it also slowly filters out the water. And sometimes it releases little bits of sugar in the water, and I'm sure the fish love that. To the right, we have these condo units with these kind of rich units on top. As you can see, the solution to building condos beside the factory was to put up a thin little wall. Despite the condos being so close to the factory, these are actually some of the best-selling condos in Toronto. It's around $5 million per unit. One more thing about the Red Path Sugar Refinery is Captain John's girlfriend works there. She's a busy girl. Up here to the right, you'll see Trillium. So this is the big ship docked at the ferry terminal. Trillium is older than the Titanic, made in 1910. You'll see some more. You'll see BMO. BMO is the tallest building in Toronto. Of course, the tallest tower is the CN Tower. So we see these financial districts. This is to thank for Toronto being so massive. So in the 60s, Montreal had the Quiet Revolution. This was the imposing of French-speaking laws. So many banks moved to Toronto. You're from Montreal? Oh, Quebec, nice. Woo! So many banks moved to Toronto because the workers didn't speak French. Where the money goes, the people follow. So this caused a massive boom of Toronto being made in the 70s. And now today, Toronto is big. It has over 3 million in population. And GTA, we like to call it, that's the Greater Toronto Area, so all of the cities encompassing Toronto has over 6 million. Yeah. And up here to the right, we see these older condos, these brownish beige units. These are some of the older ones that sold when Toronto was called the Big Slum. No one wanted to live on the harbor front. So they sold very slowly for $39,000 each. So if someone bought that back then and held onto it now, they'd be a very lucky person. Now I just want to talk about this sphere structure coming up to our right. We see that big ball. That's not really a ball. It's not a cookie ball. It's not a Death Star. I take a poop. So thank you guys for coming. Please stay seated as we dock and have a great rest of your day.